Hey fellow RVers, thanks for tuning in. Right now I'm at our home base in North Carolina. We recently took a 1,500-mile trip which took us through several states. And in this video, first, I want to get a little personal. Next, I want to talk about some of the scariest roads that I've ever experienced. And finally, I want to talk a little bit about Beech Fork State Park in West Virginia. And if you enjoy reading, stick around to the end because I'm also an author. But before we get into that, let's roll that intro. I wanted to visit one of my old high school buddies, so I did some research on Beech Fork State Park, and it's near Huntington, West Virginia. And I went to Google Earth, and frankly, I was pretty impressed with what I saw there. However, I didn't realize that getting there would entail some of the most challenging roads that I've ever navigated. And so let's get into the trip. Here we are traveling on I-77 North heading to West Virginia. We just left Mt Airy, North Carolina after visiting some holdovers from the Andy Griffith Show. And I love that show. Most of the shows on television today are crude and not worth watching. So I have a collection of some of the old favorites that I like Leave It to Beaver, the Carol Burnett Show, the Dick Van Dyke Show, and several others. And I have all of these loaded on a single thumb drive that I plug into my TV while we're out RVing. Now this is the East River Mountain Tunnel, and I've been through it many, many times. It is a special place in my heart because once through it, we enter West Virginia. Now, even though I've lived in North Carolina since, 1968, I was born and raised on a 100-acre farm in West Virginia on top of a mountain. And they say that no matter where you live, if you were born and raised in West Virginia, your heart will always be in West Virginia. And that saying is true, especially for me. So there it is, the Welcome to Wild, Wonderful West Virginia sign. As we travel on, we will pass through Princeton, Beckley, and Charleston, where we'll pick up I-64 West heading toward Huntington. My uncle surveyed most of the West Virginia Turnpike back when it was being built several years ago. Once we got off of I-64 at Barbersville, we got on some very, very narrow roads. This guy's trailer is 8 feet wide and will not fit in the lane. I can only imagine meeting another RV that is 8 feet wide. There's not enough room to pull over anywhere. Now, I grew up on roads similar to these, so I took them naturally, even though I had a 14,000-pound trailer behind me. However, my wife Rennie was horrified, and I'll have to agree, this road was scary. There were places where I was not sure that we could make the hairpin curve, and I could almost see my own tail lights in those curves. And then there were places that looked like the road was about to cave in. And others where it looked like it had caved in and tore up the guardrail. I wonder how that worked out. Once off the mountain, we followed the road onto Beech Fork State Park. My wife vowed never to come this way again. The road that followed the creek, this particular road followed the creek for a few miles, and then we finally arrived. We pulled it up to check in.
Let's see.
was interesting.
Chance.
I told my wife, I said, you got to be born and raised here to appreciate that. I was a long time ago.
You have reservations?
Yes, sir, on 10 in Old Orchard.
10?
Uh-huh.
Active.
Yes, sir.
Steven?
Yes.
That's me.
Did he give you any paperwork?
No. It'll be in this campground here, the first one, Old Orchard.
One through 13.
1 through 13, that'd be this right here.
Yeah.
So we're on 10. The park was okay, but more like a grassy parking lot. And even though the campsites were paved, they were very, very narrow.
It's on this side. 5. So this is 6. Right there. This is 7.
Uh-huh. This spot here, 8. Does it count? This is on 8.
8. Yeah, that's 7, 8.
9 and 10.
Yeah. 8. 9 and 10. So
Right here.
yeah.
It's tight.
It is tight. We're going to have to get our coats on.
Where are they? In the
Closet in the bedroom.
That wind, I think it's blowing harder here than it was at
I think it is too.
Mt Airy.
I know. So yeah, this is blowing much harder than.
All right, what I think we'll do is we'll park here really temporarily,
Yeah.
and we'll go in the camper before it gets set up or anything,
Right.
and get our coats, and
Right.
then we'll level up and all that stuff.
Yeah.
After pulling in, I walked around the camper, and the electrical box was standing in a big puddle of water. The water connection was okay, but I would only be using it to flush the commode and take showers. We always carry plenty of bottled water, plus we run any water out of our fresh tank through our zero water filter. However, it looks like the sewer connection is completely busted. Fortunately, we are only staying here 2 nights, so we won't need that. And once we got set up, we relaxed a little to rest up from the trip. The next day, I would meet my lifelong friend, John Arnold, and his daughter, Jennifer, for lunch in Barbersville. After lunch, they came to visit us at the campground. While researching for the trip, I couldn't find a decent map of the Old Orchard Campground, so here's one that you might find helpful. You could pause it here if you want to. The state park is really quite beautiful with a lake and several campgrounds around it. Plus, they have a pretty big marina if you're into boating. And I was amazed that there were several large motorhomes weighing several tons here. I wondered how they managed some of those roads. And all in all, we enjoyed Beech Fork State Park. However, Rennie assured me that this was our first and only visit here. Now, by the way, if you'd like to get a book about my early years growing up on the mountain in West Virginia, just Google Steve Atkins Amazon and get the book, The Adventures of Danny Roberts. It's actually about the adventures that I experienced as a kid or as a boy up until about 12 or 13 years old. And you and your kids will love it. I made Tom Sawyer look like he was nothing, and I'll put a link below. In the next video, we head to Kentucky to visit the Ark Encounter. Our truck breaks down, needing major repairs. However, that experience led to wonderful memories that I'll never forget. Stay tuned. Please consider subscribing and hit that notification bell. Well, folks, I think that'll do it for this video. So until the next time, may the Lord bless and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Bye-bye.